This is a sad day for Championship football and a sad day for the EFL in general. Now, there's two perspectives you can look at it, because maybe from a selfish perspective, you know, the Championship season this season is going to be so competitive. It's going to be the most competitive Championship season we have had in a long time. When you look at the teams that are coming up from League One, you've got teams like Birmingham and Wrexham, which are really going to be, you'd imagine they're going to have expectations beyond survival, especially Birmingham City anyway. They're going to have expectations well beyond survival. Wrexham, you expect to spend some money and they should be comfortable in terms of relegation, you would expect. And then you've got Charles as well, who might be in the mix. But you've got teams there coming up that are going to be very competitive in the Championship next season, where you're looking at it and thinking next season in the Championship, we are going to get some pretty big teams, or in my opinion anyway, we're going to get maybe a surprise team get relegated or a big team get relegated. Now, as I say, there's two perspectives of looking at this, because nobody wants to see what's going on with Sheffield Wednesday right now. We'll discuss that a little bit more in detail, but if you're a Championship fan, please drop a like on the video and do subscribe to the channel. We do daily Championship content, so if you're a fan of the Championship, this is the place to be going into the new season, so do hit that subscribe button. It'd be very greatly appreciated. So as I say, the bottom of the Championship is going to be so competitive. Now, you've also got maybe Leicester getting a 12-point deduction, which Leicester we know are going to be so strong anyway in the Championship, because we know the gap's so big between the Championship and the Premier League. Even if they get a 12-point deduction, in my opinion, they'll be absolutely fine, unless they, you know, you never know with Leicester with the ownership problems they've got in their club personally, but you would expect Leicester to be absolutely fine in terms of survival, even with that 12-point deduction. But obviously the question marks come with Sheffield Wednesday, because what's going on there is honestly nothing short of a disgrace. And you've honestly got to feel sorry for Sheffield Wednesday, and you feel like it's spiralling, and it's just getting worse and worse. And now it's got to the point where, you know, they've already had the embargo, which we'll talk about in a second. But the latest news coming out of Sheffield Wednesday is that the players who aren't paid, who haven't been paid again today, and didn't get paid last month, are actually able to walk away from Sheffield Wednesday in 14 days' time. They can hand in their notice today if they're not paid. And then, as I say, if they've not been paid in that 14-day window, they are then free to walk away from Sheffield Wednesday. And you're looking at it now, you've got an owner in Chansiri who obviously isn't bothered in the slightest, who is an absolute disgrace. You've got him in charge. You've got Danny Rowell potentially then leaving Sheffield Wednesday as well, which looks so likely. He'll probably be on his way to Leicester, which is not quite as nowhere near as big a circus as Sheffield Wednesday, but is a circus in itself at Leicester. You've got players then, of course, that still haven't been paid that, as I say, can walk away from that as well. Adding to that as well, you've got a transfer embargo. So if these players walk away and they've not been paid, which we hope it all gets fixed, but you honestly don't know. You can't guarantee anything with Chansiri in charge. Sheffield Wednesday could genuinely rocking up into the Championship season next season with, at some point, potentially a points deduction for what's going on for not paying their staff. By the way, you know, the players not getting paid is absolutely awful, but you've got to feel really sorry for the staff that are properly depending, and, you know, they are living on, it could be a minimum wage salary at Sheffield Wednesday, and they're getting by month, and they're not getting paid. That is where it's the biggest disgrace, and it's a disgrace in itself that the players aren't getting paid. But you're looking at a situation there where the players can walk away. They can literally walk away from the club, and Sheffield Wednesday could go into the season next season with a points deduction at some point, which, as I say, it looks like the way things are going. And as well as that, your players all gone. That means that you've just got a bunch of youth players playing next season. So it looks to be as close to like guaranteed relegation for Sheffield Wednesday at this point. And it's just a question of, you know, are they actually going to be able to survive as a club? That's genuinely what it's coming down to under this ownership with Chansiri. And you've got the contract situation where you got experienced players that are Sheffield Wednesday going to sign them. They're just not, are they? And if you're a player, you can't be putting up being there any longer. And you've got players that have been at Sheffield Wednesday now for numerous years. You've got Callum Patterson, who's been there for years now. Barry Bannon, of course, who's still not signed a new contract. I don't know what's going on with him. Obviously, he's on a lot of money. And will he sign? I don't know. He's back in pre-season training. I've seen him pictured. And then Liam Palmer as well, who's been there for years on years and years. And then Marvin Johnson as well. You've got players that are experienced. They know the club inside out. You're going to be losing those players potentially as well. With the players potentially being able to walk away on top of that. And then you can't sign any new players because you've got an embargo. The only transfers that Wednesday can make are free transfers. And again, if you're a free agent, you'd rather drop to a club in League One and know you're going to get a guaranteed salary at least, over a Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship where you've not got a guaranteed salary, because we've seen what's going on. You look at that and it's such a disgusting situation. No player who's got ambition is going to want to walk into that situation. So you've got to feel sorry for Sheffield Wednesday in that perspective. And the fans absolutely do not deserve this. And what Chansiri's done, it's an absolute disgrace. They also have like an event that Sheffield Wednesday had on that they normally have on every single year a few days ago. And that got completely called off by Chansiri as well, not going ahead at all. It's really affecting the fans. And something like that, an event like that Sheffield Wednesday have got on, such a big thing for the fans and something that can bring all the fans together, completely not even a thing anymore. And it just turns the fans even more against them. You can't get any more against Chansiri than what you already are. And as I say, people can look at it and they can laugh at Sheffield Wednesday, you get rival fans laughing. But, it gets to the point where it's not even funny anymore because no one wants to see the club absolutely fall down completely. We've seen it happen. We almost lost Reading. We've almost lost Bolton, Wigan. We have lost Bury. We've lost Macclesfield. We've lost clubs due to the fact of insufficient ownership and owners that quite simply aren't cut out to be owners, and it's down to the EFL. The EFL are making these absolutely horrible decisions with the ownership and who they're choosing to be in charge of clubs, and it's multiple clubs, and it's getting worse and worse. And Chansiri, he's had an absolute shocker, hasn't he? With the transfers that he made at the start, the amount of money that he spent, it was absolute delusion. Sheffield Wednesday had to get promoted to the Premier League. Obviously, they lost in the playoff final, which was from there on, it's been absolutely nothing but downhill for Sheffield Wednesday, and they quite simply have just overspent, spent too much money on wages, and is absolutely caught up in them. And Chansiri has thrown his toys out of the pram and completely given up on the club completely, to the point where now it looks like guaranteed relegation pretty much going into next season. And as well as that, will the club even exist beyond that? And Chansiri doesn't even want to sell. He's not making even an effort to sell the club. So it's just absolute disaster after disaster for Chansiri and for Sheffield Wednesday, and they absolutely don't deserve it. And then going into next season now, you might have to write off Sheffield Wednesday already. Which I said there's going to be a big shock this season in terms of a team getting relegated, and you can't even call Sheffield Wednesday a shock, because that's going to be one team that could potentially finish rock bottom, relegated. I just can't see a world in where they stay up with the situation that's going on without making signings, with big players leaving, potentially more players leaving. I just can't see a world. Danny Rowe leaving. I just can't see a world where Sheffield Wednesday survive this season, which is so sad to see because they are one of the biggest clubs in the Championship. And we're going to be losing a big club in the Championship, which really does offer a lot. And Danny Rowe, as I say, he's papered over the cracks there for the last couple of years, and he doesn't deserve what Sheffield Wednesday and what Chansiri has put him through. And the Sheffield Wednesday fans don't deserve what he's put him through. Then you're looking at least from like a rival club who's looking at potentially, have the ambition to stay in the Championship, is a positive in that sense. But as I say, you don't want it to get to the point where you don't wish that on any other club. You absolutely do not wish the way that things could go with embargoes, with points deductions, with potentially losing the club later down the line. I've said this for a few months now. That's the way that I picture it going down with Chansiri, because this guy, quite simply, does not care. He quite simply does not care about Sheffield Wednesday in the slightest. And he'll call out his fans. He'll do anything. He'll do absolutely anything. So that could be a team that's already relegated from the Championship next season with a points deduction, which is a sad thing for the Championship. We want the Championship to be competitive. I want the Championship to be as competitive as it is. And if we're getting a team that's getting written off before a ball's even kicked, it's just a nightmare for the division. But as I say, it's a sad day for the Championship. But who knows? At the end of the season, if you're 21st and you see Wednesday go down and you stay up, then, you'd be pretty happy obviously staying in the Championship. But no one wants to stay up, or no one wants to have that situation happen to any club, because you think about it happening to your club, and it's the worst thing that could possibly happen. And as I say, it's a massive football club that deserve a lot better. So let me know what you think of the Sheffield Wednesday situation. If you don't get paid, players could genuinely be walking away. How bad is that to get to that point? But let me know what you think. If you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. It'd be very greatly appreciated. It takes 1 second to hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.